Good morning, everybody. My name is Osa. It is Saturday, and we are back in FS19 on Oakfield Farm. And I have just transported another load of clover silage to the BGA, and we will take the truck back to the field. So I ended last week's episode with the truck auto-loaded with clover silage, and realised my mistake after I exited the game. So I wasn't sure what the impact of that would be. It turns out most of our silage bales have about 45 hours to Hoss, good day, welcome to the stream. Yeah, most of our bales have 45 hours with which to further ferment before they're going to be ready. That load are done. So, yeah. I'm going to keep them with the rest of the bales and we'll sell them all at the same time in about 45 hours. But, yeah, that was my mistake. As it is now, the day is closing down, and I'm going to make that gap. We still have the silage to collect, we have potatoes to collect, we have sheep to feed, and because it's fall, the darkness is happening a lot earlier. I'm not actually sure I've got a full truckload here. So, yeah, I've got a full truckload here. There we go. Figure out which button to push, make it work. So yes, auto-load trailers I do feel are a bit of a cheat, but we're going to do them anyway, just because I need to get things done. And you can't load a truck with a front loader by telling a worker to do it for you. Which would be the more realistic, ideal solution. Might actually just collect a full load and the rest can go and sit. Actually, there might only be one left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the last one can go and sit on the edge with the round bales, and we'll keep that as sheep food for later. All right. So that lot's all collected. Leave that there. Now, one thing I wasn't sure about was the fertilizer state of this field. I think we might be a little low, but I'm not 100% sure. So this is really another trial run of fertilizer on a clover field. We bodged up the creation of these two clover fields at the start. They both had crops in them. At least one of them did. So I ploughed in the crop, which adds fertilizer. Then I put manure on it, which adds more fertilizer. Then I planted it with clover, and clover is a very low nitrogen requiring crop, and so what ended up happening was we didn't use any fertilizer when I planted, which at the time I was a little bit surprised about, but obviously I then found out that clover doesn't need vast amounts of nitrogen like this corner of the field, and so we've been cutting over nitrogenated clover for the entirety of this year, which potentially reduces our yield, but maybe later. Each cut is reducing the nitrogen levels, so I'm thinking quite possibly as we keep going we will end up with more fertilizer requirements on these two fields. Precision farming, it will apply fertilizer that is needed as it is needed. It's certainly looking like third cut from this field is going to result in additional fertilizer need. This is really just a very marginal top up. Not necessary, but we're using so little. You look at the usage counter, it's just sort of trickling down. This section up ahead is probably fine. Just look like sections of the orange bit. Stop there. Is nitrogen bad? Oh, nitrogen bad because it wants 40 kilos per hectare, but we have 120 at this point. Okay. So also there's the possibility that nitrogen requirements tend to be per crop type, but it looks like there might be a small amount of soil type as well that affects it. Kind of thinking it's just this orange bit. Stick it on automatic, we'll go to the map. We're down here. So it's really just this orange colour. I'm not sure that probably needs it as well. I might just go and do the dark orange bit and then leave the rest alone, because we're using up time and we really are. I mean, the difference we're making here is almost negligible. Okay, let's come about and head along the bottom edge. So yeah, this bit definitely needs it. We can see a definite colour change in the nitrogen map. Kind of strange. I don't entirely understand why this is, but it is what it is. A couple of little patches up ahead. I'll miss that corner. Oh well, never mind. back edge, there should be nothing to our right. Oops, we are missing a small sliver to the right, but we'll be happy with that. I'm not going to bother too much. Should cut out any second now. So I wasn't quite expecting... I had kind of assumed that the nitrogen was what it was, and it really wasn't going to be a big deal for most of this year. Makes me wonder what the other field looks like now. If there's any really dark orange spots on that maybe I should go visit. But for the most part, most of these fields are pretty much right on the money for nitrogen, for clover. That looks about right. Let's take a butcher's at this field. So possibly that section there needs done. I may just ignore it. Oh, go. But yeah, it's a small section. It's a bit of a drive over there, and frankly, we don't need to. Okay. Finish off this bit and call that bit done too. So that's all of the fertilizer spreading I'm expecting to do for this year. Well, he says, but then there's probably a number 3 grass cut that needs to be done. And so that might also be a thing that will need fertilizer before winter or in winter or something. Oops. Steering it the wrong way. Basically just want to push that out of the area that we cut. Oops, and crash into the hedge because that's actually a thing. But I can now unload the liquid fertilizer and get some herbicide in this, because we do have a lot of problems with weeds this year. And that's going to be something interesting for Farm Sim 22. Apparently the type of cultivator you use may adversely affect weed growth. Okay. Let's cheat. So what is it? Within the store we've got cultivators, disc harrows, power harrows and subsoilers, and technically plows. They all affect the land in different ways, and in Farm Sim 22 they're going to be even more differences, which will be interesting. Okay, that gate opens the right way. Okay, so last run down to the BGA for the day, or for this run. We do have a lot of bales down there. Thinking maybe 6 loads, which is about 180. That's true. That'll be a nice income in about 2 days. So early, first day of late fall will be a good income day for silage and digestate, because we pretty much ran out of that again. I've got our, what did we plant? Spelt fields are now fully fertilised. One of the fields got a full round of digestate and topped off with solid. The other one was just straight solid. So that was kind of pricey. One, two, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 loads. Stop around there. Drag that off and down and done. So yeah, if we run over here and check these should be 45 hours to go, and these here are fully done. So auto-load trailers, there is a cheat. Load in your silage, or load in your wrapped bales which aren't silage yet, save the game, exit, come back in, and they'll all be silage. No weight required. Oh, I don't want to get stuck behind these. Again, with Farming Simulator, I tend to drive third person rather than first person. But there are just some maps where it's easier to drive first person on the roads, because of all the avenues of trees that you have to drive past. This bit not too bad, but you can see up ahead, full canopy over the road. And even driving in cab doesn't stop me clipping traffic coming the other way. I think my view was a little off centre. Okay. Tiny village with the nice covered bus stop. I think it's a bus stop, and I think we could probably throw it in here in front of that car. Whee! Probably shouldn't be driving at 30 odd miles an hour. Okay, so that pretty much does it for bale haulage for a while. My semi-trailer is missing. So I guess I'm not completely done with the truck yet. But this is the shed I keep the semi-trailers in, so good practice to put things away when you're done with them. Then you can always find them again. Oops. Making a bit of a mess up with this. Pull forward. Slurry tank looks to be where I left it, which is good. Carefully slot that in there. We are done. Drop that off. Okay. So semi-trailer's in the backyard. We'll go and reconnect to that. Do I need diesel? No. Okay. Alright, turn that off, push that forward, so let's go find our, oh, you, huh? That was the last thing we did with this thing. I think we ended the stream last week on this. Just unloaded a full load of potatoes. Oops. So time is 5 to 5. The sun will be setting, I'm guessing, within the next hour or so. It's gonna get dark. And as with most Oxygen David maps, it's gonna get impossible to see anything. How's that field doing? So the plan is for all of the fields we've planted, I think we've planted quite a few now, but for all the fields we've planted, the plan now is to herbicide the ones that are growing stuff. I do have oilseed radish in one field, so obviously we're not going to do anything with that until spring. I believe the plan for that one is sunflowers. These two are planted. I put barley in the sugar beet field, so I don't actually have a field that I'm planning to put sugar beets in yet, which might be a problem. Although again, field 3 is a grass field, and I may change that to arable and reduce the amount of what is it? Reduce the amount of grass that we're cutting, because we don't really need the grass. All we're doing with the grass is mowing it 3 times a year and wrapping it, selling it down at the PGA. It's an income source and a what do you call it? digestate sauce. It's the only thing I'm using it for. Okay, turn that on. Turn that on. That might actually be ready to go. Probably lower that. So yeah, as I was saying, I don't mind losing grass as a source of income. And we've also, there are a lot of grass fields. So, and they're, you know, small grass fields that we could avail ourselves of at the beginning of next year. I'd like to buy another arable field, but crop content is going to be an issue for us, as well as price. We don't really have the money to buy fields. I did take out quite a sizable loan to buy a new one last week before stream, which already has barley in it. So the barley's kind of working for us. But once the barley's all done, or outside of the barley field, which needs lime, I think it probably needs to be ploughed, so it's not going to be a great source of barley, but it's a new field and I bought it for other purposes this year. So I'm not worried about having the barley in it. It's having a late year crop. I kind of want to maximise my income whenever I buy a new field, and obviously if I can't do that, then that's a problem. So yeah, this setup, I'm quite happy with this setup. It's, as usual, my only gripe is the capacity of a potato harvester is sorely lacking. So it makes for a very, what's the word for it, labour-intensive task, either harvesting or collecting. Obviously, right now we're collecting. Other way. There we go. Probably shouldn't drive on the roads. So I kind of expect Farm Sim 22 when that does happen. This potato harvesting equipment will be part of that, or will be an early mod to test the mod hub with. But I fully expect to see some revisions to these by other modders, just to increase the capacity of the